Hello, my name is Ryan, and I host Living Your Best Life podcast. And I'm going to have my guest introduce herself and tell you a little bit about what she does, how she does it. Take it away.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm really excited to be here with you talking about success. I have personally been on a mission to inspire people to go after their dreams and live their best, most fulfilling life, regardless of what age or stage they're currently in. My name is Jolie Downs. I'm a partner and executive recruiter with Paradigm Staffing. It's a recruiting firm specializing in the public relations, marketing, and communications industries. I've spent the past 20 years working with thousands of executives as they move up the corporate ranks. I'm also the podcast host of two podcasts, Thriving After 40, where I talk with people about what it takes to have a successful and fulfilling life, and Career Wanderlust, where I talk with people about what it takes to have success in your career. I'm also the author of the book Thriving After 40, which shares the golden threads that connect all of the most successful and thriving. I'm also a life coach with Mind Valley and do life coaching around the universal truths to living your best life.
Perfect. Perfect. So let me ask you a question. So the first question I have is, how do successful people learn how to be successful?
That's a great question because how do we get there, right? And what I found through all of these stories is that it first starts with you defining what success means to you. You cannot be truly successful if you are living someone else's version of success. And in all honesty, I think a big majority of people are doing just that. When we're young, maybe we think about what it is that we want, but also depending on our situation, maybe we make decisions based off our family, or we make decisions based off the people around us. Maybe we make decisions based off what the media is telling us. Maybe it's because we had this favorite show and we're like, oh yeah, I need to be a lawyer. It just all happens. And then once you make a decision and life starts rolling, people just become reactive. We're just reacting to what life puts in front of us. We're doing our best to exist. We're putting our head down and just trotting through. And somewhere along the way, we stop asking ourselves, what is it that I truly want? And not based on what others want or other people need, but solely based on what do you want? What is it that you need? And what does a truly successful life look like to you in all its facets and fantasy? And then once you've identified what you want, you reverse engineer it, right? So in order to get there, I need to do this. And in order to do this, I need to learn that. And in order to learn that, I need to read this. So you figure out all of the steps that are needed, and then you get very proactive. And you get proactive about baby stepping your way there. I'm a really big fan of baby steps because it's really easy to get overwhelmed with the plan or the story or the idea of where you're trying to go when you're here and you want to get here and you're looking at and you're like, how am I ever going to do that? It can be very overwhelming, and it can and I think a lot of times that's what stops people from moving forward. So I take the clue from or the cue from long distance runners who they have the long distance running, and they will look for something very close, and they will run to that spot very close, and as soon as they see it, they're like, yes, I made it, and then they pick another spot that's really close, and they repeat and they repeat. So it's the same thing. You have this very long distance that you want to go, but you just break that down into little baby steps. So tomorrow, what's the one little thing you can do? What's just one little thing you can do? And then you do that and you celebrate it. And then the next day, what's the next little thing you can do? And you do that and you celebrate it. And that is the way you can get these really big goals into very actionable, achievable chunks, and you get yourself there. So it makes a very big difference. And if you're not sure what's needed, you can always look at people who are living that life right now and then look at what did they do to get there? What are the commonalities between them? And then use any steps that you find that are similarly aligned to all of these people, use those as inspiration to take the steps to get where you need.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I like the baby step idea. Can you share 2 or 3 common characteristics that you've observed in the stories of successful people across various fields?
Absolutely. This is what I found fascinating about talking to all of these people and really diving into their stories is that you started to see those threads. It just became very clear that these commonalities existed in all of these stories. So the first goes along with defining your success, knowing what you want. People had to get really clear on their vision of what they wanted their life to look like. And what I found was that in a lot of these stories, there would be some kind of crisis. There'd be some kind of big shakeup that would happen. And what would happen from the shakeup is it would just kind of shake up their entire lives to the point where they had to take the time to figure out, oh, well, where do I go from here? What do I do now? I have to start out. When they figured out what it was that they wanted. And from that catalyst, that was the catalyst to like them actually building the life of their dreams and getting to where they always wanted to be or could have ever dreamed to be, right? And it started with the shakeup. And I believe that the shakeup, what happens is it makes you figure out what you want. It makes you have clarity. You get clear on your vision of what it is you want your life to look like from all angles. Your career, love, health, body, finances, character, your mind, spirituality. I mean, you create that life vision and you keep your focus on the things that will bring you closer or will get you into that vision. And when you're really clear, you start making those decisions that get you closer and start not making the decisions that take you farther away. So that was one commonality. And what I've realized is that in life, you can either wait for that big shakeup crisis, or you can just decide that you're going to do that yourself and you're going to spend some time with yourself and quiet and getting in touch with what you need and what you want, and you figure out and go for it yourself. So it's like we learn through pain or we learn through learning. So the other things that were commonalities, you stay focused on what you can control versus what you cannot control. Very simple, but very, very powerful. Successful people stay focused on themselves. They don't stay focused on other people. They don't have room or time for that comparison. It's but for 2 reasons, both because they know that comparing yourself to others is a fool's game and it will steal your joy. And secondly, because they're too busy living and actually enjoying their own lives to waste their time comparing themselves to other people. So keep that focus on your life, what you want, keep that moving. Another commonality, they do not let their imposter syndrome stop them from going after what they want in life. And this is really important because it's important to know that almost everybody experiences imposter syndrome. It's a very normal thing. That voice in your head that is questioning you or telling you that you're not good enough, or who do you think you are that you can do this? That voice does not know special things. That voice is not correct. That voice just exists because of previous wiring, negative wiring that we've carried with us. And you don't listen to that. You move forward in life regardless of whatever that little voice is saying. And that's what successful people, they know how to walk with their imposter syndrome. They know how to move forward with that imposter syndrome until they eventually are able to drop the imposter syndrome. And another commonality that I found in these stories was shifting of focus from how can I help myself to how can I help others. And I found that in talking to people and you're listening to the arc of their story, right? Of how things are happening, where it goes, and then what happens next and all of that. I found that key was they'd be going in life and things would be good. But that moment where they stopped asking themselves, well, how can I help myself? And the shift went to how can I help other people? That's where like this magic seemed to happen. And boom, everything, all the things that they wanted came in. And what I believe is a universal truth in life is that when you look for ways to help others, you inevitably help yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the keys. If you're focused on yourself, what are some ways to make that sweat?
You think about the things that you bring to the table, right? I mean, what can you bring to the table? How can you help others? You just start asking yourself the right questions, right? What is about me that has helped others? And you can look at the things that you've done in the past. It's not the things that your mom made you go do. It's the things that you give of yourself. And we all have different aspects that we can help others in. So it's looking at What are the things that make you you, that are special, that can provide value to others? What are the things that are valuable that could help provide value to others? And then bottom line is, even if you don't know any of that, we all have time. We all have time. And there are organizations everywhere that need people who are willing to give of their time with love. And it is you can absolutely just spend some time within your own self to think about, well, what avenue or area do I care about the most, or that draws me in the most? What's the one that gets me fired up? And then look for ways to volunteer in that area. And those are all ways that you can start the process of thinking about how to help others.
So another question I have, i- the road to success isn't always smooth. I think we all know that at this point. How do thriving individuals approach and overcome challenges?
I like this question a lot because we all have big challenges. And we all experience losses and things that knock us off our horse, if you will, and we have to try to get back up. And what I found, the commonalities in these successful and thriving people, are that they've redefined failure and redefined challenge. They look at it in a different way. And it's because that they've learned that there really isn't anything there's no such thing as failure, right? There's only winning and learning. And I found that this belief is really connected to one of my favorite philosophies, amor fati. It's the meaning to love your fate, if you will. And the idea is that when bad things happen, because they do, this is life, right? That the most successful way to live is that when these things do happen, is to not get stuck in it, right? Not get stuck in the, well, it shouldn't be this way. Why is it this way? And this is something that I experienced quite a lot. Man, I mean, you experience deep loss. You're just like, why? Why did this happen? Why couldn't have something happen different? I mean, it's just, and you get stuck in that. And what happens when you get stuck in this is it actually is a stuck. It's a stuck in a feeling. It's a stuck in a belief. And it shouldn't be this way. And we're not able to grow. So this feeling, it only causes more pain. It causes more heartache. It really is like a rock in the soul, if you will, and there is no growth. But if you can accept where you are, accept that whatever happened, whatever challenges have come your way, whatever failures you might have experienced, maybe whatever might be happening, if you just can accept that, okay, this is where I am. This is what happened. Then you can look at it from the angle of, what can I learn? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I use this to make me better? How can I take what just happened to me and make it feel like that was the best thing that could have happened to me, whether it be a year or a few years from now, depending on the level of what just happened. And I mean, really, I've done this. I've done this in my own life. I have been so inspired by people who have had incredible challenges. But when you do this and you follow these questions and you think about the answers, then you follow that trail. You make the changes. You do the work. You grow. You become better. And I have found that this message is a trail through all these stories, and it's told in different ways. I mean, you have the Chinese farmer parable. I'm not sure if people have heard the parable, but the parable of you have the Chinese farmer and his son, and they this is back in the day when wild horses were like gold, and they get this wild horse, and all the neighbors come by and they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky that you have this wild horse," and the farmer's like, "Maybe yes, maybe no," and then the horse runs away. And the neighbors all come over and they're like, "Oh, how upsetting, this horse ran away." And he's like, "Maybe yes, maybe no." And then the horse comes back a week later with 20 other wild stallions. Now all of a sudden they have 21 wild stallions. And the neighbors are like, "Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. This is amazing." You say, "Maybe yes, maybe no." And a week later, the son gets kicked off a horse while he's trying to train it, and he breaks his leg. And the neighbor's like, "Oh, how terrible." He says, "Maybe yes, maybe no." And then a week later, the government comes by, consigning all able-bodied men to go to war, and they pass over the farmer's son because his leg is broken. "Oh, how lucky," the neighbor said. It goes on and goes on, right? So that this is a parable from way back when, and every person that I've talked to has had their own version. And the one that really, like, I could not get her out of my mind, and that really shifted my mind. For me, it's like it shifted everything. It's like, yes, this woman who had been diagnosed with stage 4 incurable lung cancer. She was told to go home and to plan for her death. Literally, just you have no more than 6 months. You need to go home and plan for this. And she went home, and instead of planning for her death, she decided to plan for her life. And what she told me is she said, Jolie, I just decided that really everything in life that is given to you is a gift. Sometimes it's just in really ugly wrapping paper. And it's your job to figure out what that gift is. And so that's what I did. And this woman, she ended up, look, there's lots of things that happen, but just that mindset right there is an incredible place to start anything, anywhere. And so this woman, this was years ago. I talked to her probably 4 years ago. She'd been alive for 5 years at that point since her diagnosis. I just connected with her like 6 months ago. She's still alive. She's had other challenges that she's gotten over. Same with this, same this way. And it's just was very inspiring. One of those things that made me shift my own belief set. And I actually got a tattoo with that belief.
That's powerful. Wow. So another question. What specific mindsets or thought patterns do successful people cultivate?
This is a good one. And this is one that I think can help anyone listening, because successful people, they know that our brains have neuroplasticity. And this means that we can actually grow more brain cells. We can change the grooves in our brains with focused effort. They know that, I mentioned this a little earlier, that our brains, they are naturally hardwired to be negative. This is a gift from our caveman ancestors. It used to save our lives, right? To think negatively, to think that stick is a snake, or to feel like you needed to blend and conform and not be different. It saved your life, right? So this negative thought process is very natural. It's the thing that stops you and says, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. What do you? It's very natural. But in this day and age, it does not help you. It only hurts you. So it really is vital to change this process, because when we stay in a pessimistic state, it creates these neural pathways. So they're like grooves in our brain, and they keep us thinking negatively. So successful people, they actively retrain their brains to focus on positive thought processes, and you absolutely can retrain your brain. And the easiest way to do this, and this is something that I did for myself, because I had the worst person that you could have in your head is the one that I was living with for most of my life. It taunted me and tormented me, and it was just not a friendly place to be in my mind. And that's horrible. It's just not how life should be. And so learning this was absolutely a game changer for me, because I thought that voice was right. I actually thought that voice knew something that I didn't, or that it was telling me something. And really that voice is a bunch of bull. Okay. That voice doesn't know anything. It's just scared. By bringing awareness to that, just by knowing that, giving no judgment, and just saying, hey, when it happens, like, oh, there it is again. I'm doing it again. Oh, that caveman mind's getting away with me. So you just notice it, and then you think the exact opposite positive thought than the one you were thinking. So whatever it was that you were thinking, you just pick the best, most positive opposite thought that could possibly, and you force it. I mean, you literally force it. You force thinking it, say it out loud if you need to, if you're by yourself, but visualize it over and over and over repeatedly. And what is the best outcome? What's the best outcome that could happen? What if everything went right? That's the question. Ask yourself. What if everything went right? What would that look like? Picture it. Do this consistently. It will create new grooves in your brain, and eventually thinking positively will become easier and easier until it's just your natural state. This is such a more pleasant place to live in life. It's such a more pleasant place to move through life. But even more so, it's actually a more opportunistic. It's more opportunistic. And they've done studies on this. And there has been, like, one of the studies was something along the lines of they showed that when they put a $20 bill laying in the middle of the ground, in the middle of the street, people with a positive mindset would see it immediately and go and pick it up. People with a negative mindset would walk right by it. And the study correlated how people with a negative mindset miss other opportunities in life. So really do yourself a favor and start flipping that positive mindset practice to start creating that positive visualization every time you get a negative one. Do it over and over.
And just flip that switch.
Flip that switch. And eventually it's going to get easier and easier until you're just telling people, oh my gosh, you can flip the switch. It's amazing.
And yeah, there's quite a bit more science. I know there's quite a bit more science behind that as well. And that's one of the things to just research that in their neurology and how our thoughts play a part in that.
It's truly fascinating. It's why people who are diagnosed with diseases, why they get sick so much faster than they were before they were diagnosed. It's because our minds start going down that road. And so I mean, like one of the premier people in mind hypnosis, Marissa Peer, is someone who has meditations and hypnosis. So you can go online and look up Marissa Peer hypnosis meditations that are meditating, going through the body, clearing the body, cleaning the body, if you will. And people might think this is very woo-woo, but I know that Marissa Peer she was given a cancer diagnosis. And I know that when she was given the cancer diagnosis, this was like in a speech. I was at a conference and they were talking about this. And Marissa Peer was like, oh, don't worry. I'm going to have that taken care of. I'm putting my mind to the test. I know how to use my mind. I'm going to use my mind correctly. And you bet I'm going to be at your event. And next year I will be on stage. And she absolutely was. And it's all based on science from what she's learned about the power of the mind and how what you think and believe, how it actually changes what's happening in your body. And it's pretty fascinating. I mean, not like it's the all end all be all by any means, but it's something that helps.
Yeah, it's not a total cure.
No, but I'm not saying that it cures cancer. Please don't
Right.
I am not saying that by any means at all. But if you are dealing with that and going through cancer treatments through the medical establishment, that it is powerful to add mindset and hypnosis and what to that process. Let's be clear.
Okay, so next question. Can you highlight some daily habits or practices that successful people tend to share?
They have a lot of different ones. They all have their successful habits, right? And this was what was interesting to me because you would get the ones that were very similar, like the strong morning routine that you follow. That's a really big one. Most people do have a nice morning routine that they have, whatever kind of works for them that makes them feel good. That could be a walk outside, breathing exercise, gratitude exercise, journaling, visualization exercise, an actual workout exercise kind of thing. A meditation. A combo is ideal if you can do a little bit of a combo of things that you enjoy and that work for you. I think that's wonderful. But that is a continuous thread, is a strong morning routine. What I'll say about habits, though, is that while having good habits, they are a strong predictor of success. I don't believe that there's any one specific habit that you have to have in order to be successful. However, from these talks, I believe there are two commonalities, two habits that kind of go together that can really, really make a huge impact on anyone's life. And they are simply writing things down, bringing pen to paper, writing out what you want, whether journal, it's that evaluation, it's that self-awareness. Writing things down, it really brings a special kind of magic into your life. You think that it's okay because it's in your head. And I do this all the time. I'm like, I don't need to write it down. It's in my head. But when you write things down, I don't know what it is. It's just like this magic comes in and it's like the universe conspires to help make things happen with you. So write things down. And then the number one thing that I would say is a commonality and that makes such an impact on people is meditation. My gosh, meditation is just, I think it's like a wonder drug. It's like gold for living your best life. If I could convince anyone to do one thing in their life, I'd be like, just start meditating. It is unbelievable the change that has on you. I mean, you can go as a mom, like as a mom with teenagers, like it can be like this kind of a thing. If I'm not meditating and just everything kind of feels like this, but then if when I'm meditating, it's all the same stuff, but it feels like this. You know, maybe a little of this, but it's just everything just feels like stabler. I don't know what it is, but meditation's magic, I say.
I know in my own life, when I've done some meditation in the morning, what'll happen is I'll have two minds. One mind is I can think about and do anything I want, and then if you're at work, for example, you can think about whatever you want to do the next day. You can dream, whatever, and you can do work. It's almost like you can do two things at once and be calm and rational and get work done, and it doesn't seem to mix. Uh, you could just do it, and I don't
Yeah.
know necessarily how.
I appreciate you saying that because I always tried to do meditation when I was younger too. I had a hard time with a breathing meditation, if you will. It didn't work as well for me. And what I found is for me, there's so many different meditations, and I didn't realize that when I was initially going into the realm of meditation. And what I've learned is there's lots and lots of different kinds of meditation. So you can go out and find ones that work for you, right? The ones that like appeal to you. And for some that might be music based. I like a guided meditation that takes me on a guided path to somewhere to figure out whatever my goals, my wants, my gratitude, love, whatever. Good guided meditation just is fantastic for me. But there's the breathing meditations. There's just all these different kinds. So what I would suggest is people should go on YouTube and try out different kinds of meditations and see the ones that they like the best, and then create a little library for themselves that they can use.
And I'm glad you said that. There's lots of different kinds of meditation. So listening to a podcast, for example, is one of the things that I'll do on a walk, and it
Mm-hmm.
allows me to focus, and it's easier to relax rather than being, oh God, I have to do this, I have to do that.
Yeah, takes
Yeah,
away the frazzleness of that energy.
absolutely. Next question. How do thriving individuals build and leverage their network?
It is all about the people, right? People make such a huge difference in life and career and everything. And successful people absolutely build their network. They continuously build their network. They never stop building their network. And they take a cue from the brownies, Girl Scouts or brownies or whatever. They make new friends but keep the old, right? That's really important. And they find people who are connections and networking in their career, but they also find like-minded people, like people with similar passions. They find like-minded people who are like-minded in the way that they just are about helping each other achieve their goals. They surround themselves with positive and uplifting people, and they do avoid the wrong people. They will go ahead and eliminate certain people from their lives. That it's not about eliminating people who are maybe a friend who's in a tough time. We all go through tough times, but there's certain people who just kind of seem to want to bring you down no matter what. And you don't always have to keep those people in your life. If they're not helping you be your best person and they're constantly making you feel bad and bringing you down, and it's not like they're having a bad time in their life, they're just a really negative force, then it's okay to say, what? I don't need to spend my time with this energy, and find better energy to spend your time with. And they really take care of the networks. They don't treat them like a network. They treat them like people, and people that they care about, and their relationships. And they learn about the people. They reach out on the birthdays or anniversaries. They remember kids' names. They help out. They offer help without expecting anything in return. They offer their services. And then when the need arises, they will ask for what they need. They will absolutely ask for what they need. I struggle with that, asking for help or asking for what I need. That was a real big thing for me that I still am working on to this day, and that I really struggled with until this podcast that I had. And I talked to all these people over and over again. And this was like a constant theme, that you ask for help. You want it, you ask for it. And not only is asking for help a good thing for you, but asking for help it actually bonds you closer to the person. It's when someone helps you, they feel closer to you, and then they're more likely to want to help you again in the future. It's this weird, crazy thing that was completely opposite than what I thought in my head. So yeah, asking for help is a really big deal, even though it's difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I know that not everyone has a healthy network and is trying to build one. So, or would like to build one, but they don't know where to start. So, where would you suggest people start? Would it be LinkedIn, Facebook? Do you have a
So yeah, you gotta have a starting point. And what I would suggest is starting with a couple different points. So start building your network on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is vital. I think everyone should be on LinkedIn regardless, to be honest with you. There's just so much opportunity that can be found there from a wide range. So it's a great place to just start building your network. When you're on LinkedIn, start connecting with all the people, and then just start like write a nice intro message of like, hey, something like I'm really interested in your profile. I would love to build my network with people such as yourself if you're willing to connect. And then just start connecting with people that are within the career that you want to grow, within the direction you want to go. If it's a passion project, anything of interest, whatever might be of interest, start just connecting with those people and growing your network. It's and then once you do, you start posting on there, but really you can start talking to people when they post. So it's like if you're trying, for example, if career wise, if you're trying to get yourself into a certain career or a certain company and you're connected with certain people in this industry or company, then and they're people that you kind of want to build a network with, start commenting on their posts. Just start like leaving nice comments, liking their things. And the repetition becomes this name recognition that they're going to have of you, right? And that's how you help grow your network. On the personal front, which I think is so important to grow your personal network and like find your people that you love to do fun things with. I say, and I know it can be really hard, especially as adults, to make new friends and build new networks and whatnot. So I say find that thing that you love, right? Whatever it is that you're passionate about, that you want to go do, that you want to spend your free time on. Go find a group that is all about that. Find a group or an activity. So for me, like I love to go dancing to live music. So I started going dancing to live music the same night, same place every Sunday. If you love to paint, go find a painting class that you go to same time, same place every week. Or if there's like places where artists go and paint, pick that same time, same place, go paint every week. You keep going over and over and over again. Like there could be maybe you want to learn how to be a speaker. There's Toastmasters. I mean, you look at Meetup, you look at all these there are so many groups out there. Just pick one and show up, okay? And if it has any kind of feel that you like it and you're like, hey, I could do this, just keep going week after week by yourself, and you are going to start to meet people. You're going to start to make friends. And there's this I found out recently was fascinating, that just when you show up at the same place or people see you at the same place, same time, I mean, that repetition, people, even if they don't know you, they start to like you. So even if they haven't spoken with you, they just start to look at you favorably and think that you're a great person. It's like something that happens in our brains. So when you do talk to them, it's gonna be much easier, a nice flower. They're already they already like you. So it's a great way to start the process of finding new friends, finding a tribe, and creating a personal network.
That's good advice. I'm going to actually take that advice and
Works.
how do successful people view and learn from failures to propel themselves forward?
It's knowing that failures are your stepping stones to success. They're how you learn. They're how you grow. It's how what's right, what's wrong, what you need to change. Without them, we wouldn't be able to get to where we need to be. And I used to look at failure as this thing that was telling me that I shouldn't do it. See, it wasn't right for you. That kind of thing. That is the way that will stop you. That is the way that will keep you stuck wherever you are and not moving forward. It is the way that will keep you scared to try new things. And it'll be the way that keeps you in a little box of not experiencing your life to the fullest. But it is vital to see failure as this beautiful part of life, as this absolutely vital part of life in order to get to where you want to go. And now I just kind of laugh at failure. I'm like, oh, there it is again. Well, I wonder what's going to come next. Oh.
Just be curious.
But always, what can I learn? That's like always time with what can I learn? How can I grow? How can I do better?
So what are two or three concrete steps that people can take today to start weaving their own golden threads of success?
Definitely invest in yourself. Take the time to plan your day, plan your week, be proactive about how you're spending your time, how you're planning your life. I'd like to share a quick 3-step mindset shift, if you will, that I think is very, very simple and has an incredibly profound impact on your life. And I'm incredibly passionate about it, incredibly so. My mom, she died from colon cancer at the age of 50. And she was 42 when she was diagnosed. She spent most of her 40s fighting the disease that would steal her life. And my dad, he died at the age of 65, the day after, and this is literally the day after he retired. And all those plans that he had been excited about, I mean, I was so excited, just waiting to like share with him. He never got to experience. And the one thing that I am absolutely sure of in life, and it's a question you should ask yourself, what are you sure of in life? The one thing I'm sure of is that we are not promised any number of days in this life. And it is absolutely vital that we live our lives to the fullest every single day. Now, I am passionate about a bucket list, and people might roll their eyes, but so many people think of a bucket list as something that is a late in life activity, and a bucket list should be as early as possible and consistent life activity. I am telling you that this belief has led me to experience some of my greatest memories and accomplish so many goals, because anytime something interested me, whatever it might have been, whether it was something I wanted to learn, a place I wanted to visit, something I wanted to experience or wanted to have, I wrote it down. And these are things that never would have happened if I had not written them down. And they have absolutely made my life sparkle. I have had the most amazing experiences because I have kept this bucket list. And I want people to think about, I mean, like, what could your life look like if you started keeping a regularly updated bucket list? There are so many things that we think about that are of interest to us, or that we want to go check out, or that we want to go see, or we want to go do, that we forget, that we just don't remember. And when we have that free time, that free day, we're like, oh, what should I do with myself? Oh, I don't know. And then you end up going to do the same thing you always do, or you just fall back on some routine. And you're not exploding your life with this amazing beauty and awesomeness that is available because we forget. Well, keeping that bucket list, it's not like the big things, it's all the things. It's like, oh, I want to check out that restaurant. Oh, I want to take that class. Oh, that event coming up would be amazing. All of the things are written down. So you start that way. And then whenever you have a free day, a free evening, a free weekend, or you're planning your vacation, you look at that bucket list and you have all of these amazing ideas to go make your life sparkle. Now, so you start that process. And the second part of this bucket list mindset is applying this to things that you're not looking forward to. So whenever there's something that brings that sinking feeling into my gut, that feeling of like, oh my God, do I really have to do this? I'll add it to my bucket list. And what it does is it shifts the feeling of it. So it takes away it takes it from being this, oh gosh, something I have to do, right? To, hey, it's on my bucket list. It's an opportunity. And it works. And I've used this with things like I was dreading going on a 3-mile hike in the monsoon wind and rain with 35th graders. It's just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I added it to my bucket list, and immediately I was like, hey, this is an adventure. I get to go in the monsoon wind and rain with 35th graders. People get to do that. Or I was really nervous about presenting to they were a dream client for me. I was so nervous about it. So I added it to my bucket list. And I'm like, hey, it's all about the experience, not the outcome. I get to present to my ideal client. I mean, I get that experience regardless of the outcome. No one can take that away. So all of a sudden it makes it the best, this great thing. It's just, it shifts it from, like I said, that all right to check. And it just feels good. So that's the second part. But my favorite part is the third part of this, I call it the bucket list mindset, if you will. It's the flip side of the bucket list. Okay. It's recording the things that you've already accomplished. And I have in my phone, I have a bucket list notes, and I have an already accomplished bucket list notes. And it's where you take stock of your life. And this is important. Okay. It's not the big things. Oh, I went to Paris and went to the Eiffel Tower. It is all the things that you have had the honor of experiencing that someone else may not have had the opportunity to do. I want you to write it on that list. Nothing is too small. Nothing. This process, it brings an unbelievable amount of gratitude for life. Oh my goodness. It gives me chills. All those little everyday things, the gratitude and appreciation is what will come flooding in. I mean, for me, it was like, you could take the simple things. Like I live near the ocean. I'm able to do fun things with my kids. I mean, I put on my bucket list that I got to go bowling, that I got to go PB golfing with my kids or lazy time. I mean, so there's many people out in this world who've never had that experience. So it's like taking a literal count of all of your blessings. It's an absolute pleasure to review your life from this perspective, to look at those things that you take for granted that feel every day, but realizing how truly special it is. And so you make this list and you keep it. And you keep it consistently. So when you start it, maybe you do the big things, you do the big overall when you start it. But then every few months, what I'd like you to do is go back and think about all the things you did and add to it every few months. And you can keep it itemized year by year. And what this does is it changes the way you look at life, right? And it also makes you very aware of your words, your thoughts. I had this really tough year in 2016, and I kept telling everyone that it was this horrible, no good, terrible year. I walked around saying all the time. But when you keep that already accomplished bucket list going, and then I went back and I reviewed, right? Because I just kept it going because I was naturally doing that. And then I actually went and looked at and reviewed all those things that I'd done during that horrible, no good, terrible year. And it's incredibly humbling. I mean, I had amazing experiences that year. I went to Chicago. I saw Bruce Springsteen. I actually was on TV. I was on Let's Make a Deal. I got to go to the Virgin Islands. I mean, I won grand prize in a sand sculpture contest. All these little things, right? And it was the last full year that I got to spend with my father before he passed away. And that year, we went to Disneyland with my family, with my dad, my brothers, aunts, cousins, the kids. It was this magical experience that still brings me comfort and joy to this day. This list, it reminds you that life is a gift, that every day is a gift. And we forget. It's just so easy to get caught up in our day-to-day life. I mean, we get in that Groundhog Day, right? With our heads down, we're just trying to exist. And what I found is that living this bucket list mindset, it's like giving your life continuous jolts of electricity. It's like it just infuses you with this growth in gratitude. And it is the easiest thing to do because, I mean, really, again, how many times do you have free time and you don't remember? And how many times have you done things that you've taken for granted? You don't see it for the beauty of what it is, right? So that's something that I just really want to share with everyone today is that what I would really hope for right now, if I could have any ask, I would ask that everyone listening picks up their phone and please add a note into your phone and title it bucket list. And then please add a second note and title it already accomplished bucket list. And remember, nothing is too small to add to these lists. And please add everything and let the first one infuse you with enjoy, experiences, and excitement in life. And let the second one infuse you with gratitude and appreciation for every day that you get. That's what I'd like to share.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here and sharing so much of you and what you do, but also what you've learned from others.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to have the opportunity to do so. I really appreciate it.